Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. I'm Ryan Kangasa, partner at MediaSense. I'm really happy to kick off what is our inaugural innovation session in partnership with Alchemy. You know, we've thought about this type of session for some time, and we just felt, that it's a great opportunity for brands such as those attending on the call to just try and meet some of the leading startups and scale ups in a way that's short, sharp, super insightful, and hopefully not too burdensome on your time. And especially after the last couple of years of growth, we felt e-commerce is probably a great place to start. So David will introduce the speakers in a moment. Please do, if you've got any questions, just drop them in the Q&A, and we'll answer those as we go on. And just the last thing I wanted to say, which I think is important, is just to reiterate that from MediaSense perspective, we don't have any strategic or commercial interest with any of the partners that you'll meet today. We're here simply to facilitate a good discussion. So with that, I'll hand over to David.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ryan. Lovely to see everyone. Well, I can't actually see you, but you're all there, I know. My name's David Spon-Smith, and I work at Alchemy Network. I'm going to host the session today. So I'm just going to start by kind of making sure everyone's comfortable with what's about to happen in the next hour or so. So I'm going to walk you through the agenda. I'll do some quick introductions, and then once we've done that, we'll then start the presentations in earnest. So in terms of the agenda, I'm going to do a quick introduction to Alchemy Network, just to kind of explain who we are, what we do, and why we do it. So I'll then introduce the three presenters, and then each of those presenters will present for about 15 minutes. And so obviously they'll give you a good overview of the business and the proposition, what it is that they do. And then clearly, if you've got any questions, as Ryan mentioned earlier, please just put them into the Q&A chat function at the bottom of the screen, and then we'll read them out at the end of each of those presentation slots, depending on how much time that we have. And then on the hour, on about 3 o'clock, I'll wrap up the session. And then later on today, or probably on Monday, Ryan and the team at MediaSense will send out some follow-up emails, and they'll put all of the contact details of everyone that's presented in those emails to you. So if anything's kind of piqued your interest, then feel free to continue the conversations with the guys and Ryan and the team at MediaSense in the future. So that's kind of the setup, kind of nice and simple. So I'll get started with the introduction to Alchemy Network. So we are a marketing innovation consultancy, and we run a marketing innovation program called the Discovery Sessions. We currently do it for about 250 different brands, agencies, and consultancies. And effectively what we do is we go into the market. We find all the sort of pioneering and disruptive and innovative new players in the ad tech and martech space, and we introduce them to the brands and the agencies and the consultancies on our program. So that's what we do, and that's what we're about to do for you in a second. There's kind of two real benefits to what we do, or there's two key reasons why the brands that we work with us. The first one is to try and help them foster some innovation within their marketing departments. And I guess what we mean by that really is that innovation is this word that's often used an awful lot, but it's quite a difficult thing to sort of pin down and define. More often than not, in our experience, innovation really occurs through serendipity. And I guess what we mean by that, it's kind of putting people together who wouldn't perhaps normally spend a lot of time with each other. So if you're meeting people from different businesses with different backgrounds and different experiences, conversing with them and being inspired by what you hear, then we think that's a really good opportunity for innovation to flourish within an organization. So this session is really designed to do that. Pause a day job for an hour once a quarter, come and meet some businesses that you probably wouldn't normally speak to, and hopefully be inspired by what you hear, and hopefully that can lead to some innovation within your marketing efforts. And the second thing we're trying to do really is to help the big brands that we work with reclaim some competitive advantage in their marketing. And again, what we mean by that is just understanding that all of the brands that we work with, for very good and very obvious reasons, are all on the same big tech platforms, which is great. But the problem or the challenge that comes with that is that how do you differentiate yourself as a marketeer if you're your brand, if you're all on the same big tech platforms, often using very similar strategies to your peers? So again, by meeting the more emergent and nascent and disruptive players in the ad tech and martech world, we think there's a really good opportunity for brands to reclaim some competitive advantage in what is an increasingly competitive landscape. So that's enough about us. I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to quickly introduce the three presenters, and then we'll start the presentations in earnest. So first up, we've got someone called Tom from a business called Adimo. So Adimo are a pioneering e-commerce solution. Effectively, they take digital assets and turn them into instantly shoppable ad formats. So we're going to hear about that in a minute from Tom. We've got Dan from a business called Skai. Skai is a leading omnichannel e-commerce solution, but they have a particular focus on retail media. So obviously we're going to hear from Dan in a minute as well. And then finally, we've got Charlie from a business called SayItNow. They're a pioneering voice commerce solution which can create actionable audio ads across Amazon and Google, and we're going to hear from Charlie in a bit as well. So that's going to be the running order, everyone. So Tom, the floor is yours. Your 15 minutes starts now.
Great, thank you, David. Hello, everyone. Lovely to meet you all. David, I'm just going to share my screen. Could you confirm that that is...
Yeah, I can see that. If you just want to put it into present mode, and you're good to go, mate.
Perfect, great. So some of you may be familiar with what we do. We do work with a couple of clients on this call across various markets, but essentially we are Adimo. We sit within the e-commerce enablement space, or we make marketing shoppable. So we work with clients to enable their customers to shop their products wherever they generate demand or wherever they create demand. That can be directly from their websites, or it can be from marketing, so digital display, social content, social marketing, influencer content. More recently, we've been trialing stuff in the US with CTV and out of home. But anywhere you generate demand, we can create a path to purchase, enabling your customers to shop more conveniently and instantly. A quick bit of background. We were established in 2012, so we've just turned 10 years old. That actually makes us one of the more established players within this particular field of MarTech. Within that 10 years, we've managed to establish a truly sort of global footprint. So we're currently active in over 62 markets worldwide, in use across 6 continents and translated into over 41 different languages. Again, that global footprint is a factor that sets us apart from some of the other players. What that means is we can work with our clients, with their local teams to connect their local marketing activations, their local websites, with local customers. The reason we are able to operate globally is that we have existing retailer integrations with over, I think we currently sit at about 740 retailers worldwide. This is a snapshot of those retailers. So far left, you've got UK, second to that, US, you've got rest of world. That number, that 740, is by no means finite. Whenever we work with a new client, the client tells us which retailers they would like to integrate with. Any that we don't have existing integrations with, we can scope compatibility and integrate usually within 48 to 72 hours. This looks at our existing client base. I think what we like to highlight here is that we pride ourselves on retention. So we retain clients on an ongoing contractual basis. A couple of examples to pull out here. Kellogg's, one of our longest standing clients. We've been working with Kellogg's now for over 7 or 8 years in total. And we are currently integrated into over 100 of their brand sites worldwide. Another is Bacardi, Bacardi.com we've been working with for a number of years and continue to do so. A number of the Bacardi brand.com sites worldwide that have that shop now functionality. That shop now functionality is powered by ourselves. The reason we're able to retain clients is that we're very much a managed service provider. So we have a team of specialists called our client success team who will handhold throughout the entire process. So from the point of initial consultation through the setup, installation, through monthly, quarterly, end of contract reporting, but they're also on hand to make any amendments as and when required. And that can be, or that can include optimizations throughout the course of any contract with ourselves as well. So our touch points, wherever they sit, they use one of 4 or multiple of 4 user journeys. The reason we have different user journeys is because different customers like to shop in different ways. So some customers prefer to shop online, others prefer to shop in person at a physical store. But also customers shop different types of product in different ways. So you'll shop a grocery item very differently to how you may shop tech or alcohol. So having these different user journey types means that we can really tailor our solutions to suit the clients that we're working with and the environment in which our touch point sits. So I'm just going to talk through each of these in a little more detail, and I'll show you examples of each in action. The first is what we call our Buy It Now user journey. This is the quickest and most direct path to purchase, which means we are taking the customer from the initial engagement in the ad or from the Shop Now button on the website through to the point of transaction in the shortest number of clicks, the shortest time frame. It's the user journey that's supported by pretty much all retailers, and it's the user journey that we use most often in the media integration, so social, digital display, VOD, etc. The example we've got here is for Bacardi. This is the Bacardi France website. So the user clicks the Shop Now call to action, at which point they're presented with a selection of retailers. These retailers are defined by the clients. Typically, it's between 2 and 10, depending on where the touch point sits. The user selects their preferred retailer. They select the product they want to shop, at which point we take them through to the retailer website to complete transaction, however they so wish to do so. Second user journey is what we call add to basket. So here we take it one step further in that we add the chosen products or products to the user's personal basket at their chosen retailer. To do that, obviously we need them to input their login credentials for that retailer. But this is a function that is most suitable to our sort of grocery clients or any clients with low price point products where you might not necessarily want to check out or transact on an individual item. You'd rather add it to your basket and complete transaction of part of a larger shop, for example, the weekly grocery shop at a later date. So the example here is for Alpro and the almond drinks. So the user selects the buy now call to action. They choose their preferred retailer. This time it's Asda. They select the product they want to shop. They can play around with quantity. They can select multiple items, at which point they're generated a shopping list and we ask them to input their login credentials for that chosen retailer. That means we can add those products to their personal basket. Those products will remain in their basket until the next time they log in to complete transaction at a later date. Recipes. Recipes uses the add to basket user journey. It's a similar process. Difference being, users can add a bank of ingredients or a full shopping list of ingredients in the same way that you might be able to shop an individual item. And this enables brands to make their recipe channels on the websites instantly shoppable. So the example here is for Nestle Carnation. The user finds a recipe they want to shop. They select the buy now or save to basket on this occasion call to action. They choose their preferred retailer. This time they select Tesco. Now at this point, we generate a shopping list of ingredients for that recipe. That includes the correct quantities. We measure that on our side, but they can tailor this to suit. So they can remove items if they have those items at home already, for example, or they can up quantity. There's even a function where you can substitute in more value products or more luxury items if they so wish to do so. Once they're happy with the shopping list, they select send to retailer, they input their login credentials for that retailer. All those items will be sent to their basket and will remain in their basket until the next time they log in, again to complete transaction at a later date. So the first three user journeys are online user journeys. The fourth is our offline user journey. And here we're connecting your customers with your products at physical stores nearby. So a couple of benefits to this. One is it caters to the customer who prefers to shop offline, who still prefers to go out and buy products in person at a physical store. Second is it enables customers to really sort of act upon impulse and go out same day and buy a product same day when they feel inspired to do so. The example we've got here is for Nestle Kit Kat. So the user selects the where to buy call to action. At this point, they are asked to input their location manually, or they can do that automatically if they're geolocation enabled on their device. They select the product they want to shop, at which point we generate a map or we generate a list of shops nearby that they can go out and purchase in person. So those four examples are the four different user journeys in a website setting. But obviously a big part of what we do is making marketing instantly shoppable. It's the same user journeys that we integrate, obviously just into a media setting. So we do that in two ways. Firstly is for VOD and digital display, our touch points sit within the actual media unit. So this enables your customers to shop your product directly from the ad unit or the media unit itself. So the example here on the right-hand side is for Mondlane, for Cadbury. The user clicks the buy now call to action within the ad unit. That triggers our technology to load, and you'll notice it's the same user journey. So user selects their retailer, they select their products. This time it's the buy now user journey. So when they're happy, we take them through to the retailer page to complete transaction or to add the product to their carts if they so wish to do so. On the left-hand side is our VOD example. This time it is for Maltesers, and this time it's the add to basket user journey. So the user clicks the shop now call to action, all captured within the media unit. They select their retailer, they select their products, they choose add, input their login credentials because it's add to basket, and then that product is added to their basket at that chosen retailer. One thing you'll notice is that with add to basket, at no point do we take them through to the retailer website. That is all captured within our touch points. So they remain on the page they were originally browsing. Really easy to set up. All we need to build the touch points for digital displays, HTML tags, for video are VAS tags. We do all the heavy lifting on our side. Social works a little differently. For social, it extends beyond social actually. So for social, out of home, CTV, Google search, we build custom landing pages. Those custom landing pages are what house the Shop Now functionality. So the example on the left here is a Facebook ad for Brita. So the user clicks the call to action within the marketing units. That triggers our custom landing page to load. And you'll notice it's fully branded. So we use our clients' own assets to build the landing pages to make them look as native as they can to the client. But it's the same user journey. So select retailer, select products. This is buy it now. So we take them through to the retailer website to complete transaction, all housed within the custom landing page that we build. A single custom landing page can support one campaign across multiple platforms. So you can have one custom landing page that supports campaigns across Facebook, Instagram, Google search, CTV, TikTok, Pinterest, Twitter. What that gives you is it gives you an overall view on how your social or how each platform for that campaign is performing in terms of driving actual and measurable purchase intent. On the right-hand side, this talks to the fact that we have an existing global data integration with Facebook or with Meta. So any Adimo integrations that you have running across the Meta platforms, so Facebook and Instagram, you can access the Adimo analytics via the Facebook Ads Manager. We have something similar in place with Google Analytics, and we are in testing phase of something similar with TikTok as well. So that should be rolled out in full within the next month. Managing out of stock. So this is quite important for our clients. It's more than managing out of stock. We scan our retailers on average every 6 hours or 4 times daily to ensure that all the information we're displaying via our touch points is up to date. So that includes the individual product pricing per retailer. We pull through any promotions that are being run at any individual retailer, so your customers can shop those promotions via our touch points. And then most importantly is the in or out of stock. So we let customers know instantly whether a product is in or out of stock at any said retailer, which means that they can obviously choose a retailer where we know that product is currently available. That just all creates a more seamless, frictionless path to purchase. And it's all about protecting that user experience. So the first part of what we do is all about user experience, creating the ability for your customers to shop products more easily, more conveniently, and when they feel inspired to do so. Second to that is we capture every action within our touch points. So with that, we provide back to you, the clients, analytics that help you better understand who your customer is, how your website, how your marketing is performing, where your customers are shopping, etc. And that's all accessible via the Adimo Analytics dashboards. This is the top line view of that. So you've got a summary funnel here. So we capture, depending on setup, depending on the user journeys that we integrate, we can capture 40 plus different data metrics that help paint a picture of performance. That can be broken out in various ways. So firstly, we can look at individual retailer performance. So you can see how certain campaigns or certain platforms or certain creative types are driving measurable purchase intent at which retailers. That can be used by our clients' commercial teams to strengthen retailer relationships. But we can also break that out by channel, by source, by platform, by creative type. What that means is you get a very sort of granular view on how your marketing is performing, again, by driving that actual and measurable purchase intent. So you can look at, let's say on Instagram, you can look at how main feed performs versus stories, how Instagram performs versus Facebook, how influencer content performs versus sort of paid marketing, etc. And then that can then be used by clients, obviously, to optimize future marketing as well, to ensure they're getting the best performance, and that their marketing is actually translating into purchase intent and into sales at a later date as well. And that's it. Hopefully I've stuck within, I think I've stuck within my 15 minutes. So David, I don't know if we're open floor here to questions or we're passing on.
I think we're going to pass on, Ryan, unless there's any questions your end.
So, yeah, just very quickly, just to the previous chart, obviously there's a lot of data related to campaign and individual clients' campaigns, but do you also make available data, the broader industry data for benchmarking purposes? Because I presume you collect lots and lots of information, really valuable information, and just whether that's made available in any way.
It's made available upon request usually. So when we're working with various clients, they will ask for benchmarks prior to deciding how they want to work with us to better understand what that ROI may look like at the end of it. There's no sort of general program we have for that sort of data sharing, but it's certainly something we can work on, but it's sort of, like I said, as and when requested.
Sure. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Tom. Thank you for your presentation. Okay, well, let's move on to our next presenter. So delighted to introduce you to Dan from a business called Skai. Just to give you a quick reminder as to what Skai do. So they're a leading on-the-channel e-commerce solution, and they have a particular focus on retail media. I'm going to hand over to Dan, who's going to tell us all about it.
Thank you, David. All right. Hi, everyone. So just thought I'd start with, where we are today as a business. So we're really looking to be the leading actionable marketing intelligence platform, helping our brands and agencies drive smarter commerce decisions and really helping them accelerate brand growth. For me, the why Skai, you may also just coincidentally know us as Kenshu. So we started life out back in 2006 as Kenshu. Back in those days, search really ruled the roost. It's accountable for almost 45% of total digital spend. Where commerce was at a lowly kind of 6%. As we've gone through those years, Kenshu developed and evolved as a business, starting life out as a paid search platform. We always had the ethos of helping brands and agencies drive, efficiencies through automations, drive insights through data connectivity, and drive performance through a variety of optimizations. Now, that's changed and evolved over time, but what you're seeing here is really why brands and agencies use Skai, whether that be for their paid search, their paid social. Back in 2014, we acquired a business called AdQuant, which is really now our Skai Apps proposition. So helping mobile marketers drive user acquisition and lifetime value across key channels like Apple Search Ads, Snapchat, and Google App campaigns. And we've kept evolving into this world of e-commerce, which is obviously the key interest today. In fact, we were fortunate enough to be the first third-party platform to develop on Amazon's API. They actually selected Kenshu at the time for our history and our capabilities across search and social. And and we've haven't looked back since. So we've grown into this world of e-commerce, and we're going to spend most of the time talking about that today. But just to give you a more rounded view, we've continued to develop and innovate and answer brands' major questions. We brought out incrementality or measurement testing back in 2018 as more and more CPGs or FMCGs came to us and said, hey, but we're having a problem with measurement. We don't know the incremental impacts of our marketing tactics on the bottom line of the business. And we've brought out a full tool to help them with that. And more recently, we've moved into market intelligence, acquiring a business called Signals Analytics, which actually led to our rebrand into Sky, to where we are now, where we're a full commerce intelligence platform. And what you'll see is brands have always come to Sky to help them with that change in digital ecosystem. Where commerce spend now accounts for almost 65% of the total digital spend. So it's a really interesting and really exciting area to be involved in. We work with some of the brands on the call today, but we have been fortunate enough to work across those kind of key commerce sectors, whether that be pharmaceutical, whether that be CPG and FMCG, apparel, or even consumer electronics. We're obviously very lucky to continually get awards for the work that we do with our brands. But I think more interestingly is really where we are as a business now. So we account for over $7 billion in annual spend that flows through the platform from some of the world's biggest brands, with over 1 million different types of commerce campaigns being launched and activated through the Sky platform. But in the world of commerce, obviously it's a constantly evolving and constantly developing ecosystem. So as I mentioned earlier, we started life out purely working on Amazon, and we continue to be one of the leading Amazon activation partners. So helping activate across Amazon marketing, working into the world of Amazon DSP and more recently AMC. So again, constantly evolving and developing there. But we've also developed APIs with Walmart. Obviously, kind of what many will see as Amazon's main challenger. Maybe less interesting for purely EMEA-focused brands, but obviously for those that have significant interest in the US, it's a very, very interesting channel and publisher, and it's an ever-growing force against Amazon. There's also the likes of the Instacarts of the world that are bringing to life their own platform, but also some interesting brands, along the lines of Costco or Sephora or Audi here in EMEA. And then, of course, we've got these really interesting what we call supply side partners. So again, Sky is leading the partnerships and relationships with the likes of Criteo and Citrus Ads, and that enables us to unlock a whole host of further retailers. So ultimately Sky is here to really help brands connect all of the relevant channels to them, and some of these channels won't be relevant to every business, right, of course. So but it's giving that full capability across the retail media landscape. And of course, we still hold significant value for our direct to consumer brands across the likes of Google, Microsoft, Meta, and Pinterest. Wanted just to also just kind of bring this more into, suspect we've got a full EMEA crowd here today. So, it's great to have, over 35 different retailers available in the US. Where are we within EMEA? So we're leading the retail expansion here in EMEA. Already we've got available access to the likes of Asda, look fantastic, Carrefour, Pickwick's Toys, which is Toys R Us for us in the UK who don't recognize that brand. Verton, a really interesting retailer from Spain. We're working on releasing a number of really, big retailers here in EMEA in Q2. So the likes of Tesco's, John Lewis partnership, Waitrose, Sainsbury's, MediaMart, a couple of Greek retailers that I'm not going to embarrass myself and try and pronounce on today's call. But again, it's not just looking at the key ones in the UK. We are looking to provide that total support across EMEA, and it will continue to grow and evolve throughout H2 in 2022, and again, some really interesting ones. For anyone who is really leading and thinking about retail media, and you have retailers that you're not seeing on this list, and if we are going to do a follow-up, we'd love to know what retailers are important to you. These are just some of the ones I've selected for today's conversation, but of course there's many more that we're in discussions with, so love to hear from you all in due course as to whether these retailers are the ones you're looking at, or if there's some that you think are missing here. But we need to bring into contrast what Sky is for a lot of our big brands these days. For me and for us, really, we've changed from just being activation. Really, it just starts with the data in. So Sky's always been built on an open ecosystem. We are well known for our ability to bring in relevant data sets, the data that matters to our brands, and that could be first-party data, it could be the publisher data, it could be data that sits in internal BI systems or CPG platforms or CRM platforms. We've got the ability to work with those data sets and integrate them into the platform. Examples of some of that first-party data might be brand analytics for those living and breathing in the Amazon world. How we can bring in ratings and reviews, share of voice, and all of that data then leads into some of those kind of key areas of focus for brands and agencies. So the ability to bring those insights in, as I mentioned, sort of share of voice being a key insight there. How we can bring in dashboards that bring all of that data and harmonize all of that data together in one view across all of these different channels. How we can give you the ability to run best practice through auditing or be able to test with confidence. We very much believe in a test and learn culture here at Sky. So, and I know that many of our brands do, right? We don't want to just be pouring money or launching campaigns without a clear view of what the impacts and what the relevancy will be long term. How we can help with bidding strategies. So yes, there are great bidding tools from the publishers, the likes of smart bidding that we're all probably familiar with, or CBO on the social side. Where Sky really fits in is using the insights and the data to enhance those bidders, to give you that competitive edge. Very much the reason we work with Alchemy is because they're looking to introduce platforms that can give you that competitive edge, do something slightly different from the crowd. And this is really what Sky is focused on today. Of course, we cover and we mean a number of different things to a number of different brands, whether that be retail media, as we're talking about today, and that ability to be at the very forefront of all of the relevant marketplaces and channels to our brands, whether it be more traditional D2C work across paid social and paid search, still a growing and evolving business unit for us here at Sky. We certainly see that continue to grow as people don't want to just rely on that or put pure reliance on the likes of Meta or Google, and they're looking for that, again, that competitive edge, through to app marketing, where we can start really thinking about how you can increase share of wallet, how you can increase stickiness with your client base, how we can increase lifetime value via app marketing. And then some really interesting higher level elements in incrementality and the testing capability that we have there. North Star is a project we're working on to really start harmonizing all of these channels together and being able to give you consolidated views and make consolidated decisions across those channels. So moving away from the silos, and our market intelligence platform that really helps you with branding and product positioning. So really looking at bringing all of those kind of core competencies that you're seeing on the screen there together. And moreover, this is really what like brands like we're speaking to today and that are on today's call are really asking us. Historically, the insights and planning, or the activation and performance teams, or the testing and measurement teams have all been very, very siloed. But that now we're seeing that how they're all intrinsically linked. How we're having to work behind some of the walled gardens of the publishers and bring all of this data together, and how we can connect everything from the insights to the activation, and how we can constantly test and measure to make sure that all of those actions and activity and activation is driving obviously results to the bottom line of the business. coming back to the retail media piece, really, if I was to simplify it down into 3 key things that we're always looking to achieve for our brands, is to increase sales, access to shoppers that are everywhere. Your consumers aren't on one channel anymore. It's no longer linear, right? They're across a whole section, a multitude of channels, and your ability, and giving you the ability to talk to them at every way. How we can increase your share, optimize towards share of voice, how we can measure and monitor share of voice. It's really, really critical to know what your competitors are up to. How can you be the market leader, the disruptor, the innovator within your own vertical or category? And of course, always looking at the classic ROAS and looking at not only performance but those initial costs, how we can create cost efficiencies and really optimize that across those channels. So realized I talked a lot in terms of what we do and how we do it, but these are just a couple of examples from some of the CPGs that we work with. So we've been working with Reckitt's for a very, very long time. I'll talk about them more as we go through in these last few minutes, but our ability to help them access all of their shoppers everywhere, how we've made testing easy for them, and how we've been able to help them optimize towards what matters, which is sales. And we've seen 146% growth year on year in terms of their revenue figures. Diageo is another interesting one, very much focused on share of voice. So and worked with us in fact to develop the first share of voice optimization capability in market. But we're constantly looking at them in terms of their customer set, how we can bring to the forefront and surface those relevant insights from share of voice. And then how do we optimize it? Bringing insights in is great, but you get to that so what question, and it's how do we then use those insights to drive activation or drive better performance? And this is a great example of how we do that. And this is what you kind of see within that platform. So how we can benchmark, how we can conquest, and then how we can defend against those competitor initiatives that are going on all the time, every day, and every hour. And I just wanted to start wrapping up. Skai works in a number of different ways, and I know MediaSense are helping a number of brands being able to maybe look at in-housing. And Reckitt's was one of the businesses that we helped go through that in-housing process. So we started with a transitional service, a managed service, if you like, where they were starting to recruit and upskill their team, but they didn't have full capability to really manage everything themselves. So Skai not only ran those programs, we set them up for long-term success before handing them over into that more traditional self-serve model. And of course, we work with a whole range of agency partners, as you would expect. And the final thing I'd just say that kind of really will help our brands is we act as an extension of your team. When you're looking at technology, you've got to have that industry support, that industry expertise. It's not just about the technology, it's about how you combine the technology and the people. I think Skai sets itself out, in a completely different way and a completely different level to some of the platforms or publisher relationships you're probably used to, across everything from sales all the way through to product management. And of course, if we're interested in discussing anything further, we'd love to enter some dialogue with you, maybe bring to life some of the platform. And of course, through our partnership with Alchemy, we always offer a 30-day no-risk free trial for anyone who's interested there. And that's it for me. I think I'm just about on time.
Yeah, perfect. Great timing, Dan. Thank you ever so much. And it's a shame we didn't get to hear your Greek, but there we go. Maybe another time, mate. Brilliant. So I think actually we've got one question. I've got it here. Let me read it out. So, the rise of retail media is raising questions over who should be responsible for buying. Would it be a media agency? Would it be a shopper marketing agency? Could it be in-house? So who do you see as leading the way in this particular growth area?
You know what? I'd love to give you the silver bullet of answers, but it's an evolving answer. No one wants to give up budget. So traditionally with retail media, we've seen that held in shopper teams who are used to dealing with the retailers for end of store or end of shelf, products and offers there. And that's slowly moving into that digital realm, and how those two teams are now working together when they talk to retailers. So how they bring the digital offer in with the physical offer. I don't think anyone's got that quite right yet. But of course, you know, we'll see that evolve. But right now, we're still in that struggle of people holding on to budgets, as you'd expect within those bigger businesses. So, you know, I think it will eventually end up in those digital teams.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you, Dan. Great stuff.
David, if you wouldn't mind, still one last very quick question for you, Dan. Just, I guess what we often hear is that the retail platforms are almost where search, you know, paid search was 10 years ago. You know, very clunky, very manual platforms. I mean, how far away are we from, you know, all the Walmarts and Krogers and Targets actually being able to offer something that is more scalable, more automated?
Cracking question. Yeah. So I think you've hit the nail on the head. Yeah. I mean, they are where paid search was around 10 years ago. Amazon's never considered itself as a you know, an advertising business, but they're slowly starting to bring out the likes of algorithms, the more functionality on their own self-serve platform. I think what we're seeing is a lot of these retailers use the likes of Criteo and Citrus Ads right now to get into the game and get some skin in the game. And as they grow, they'll all start developing their own APIs, their own self-serve platforms, and you'll see that evolve. Whether it's you know, sustainable long term, you know, you can't have marketers logging into 30 different platforms on a daily basis. So I think the value of a third-party platform like Sky, where we can connect with all of them, will be where the future really takes hold, having that single point of access across all of those API connections.
Brilliant. Thanks, Dan. We've got one last question. So, Leo, I think I've unmuted you, I think. So please, the floor is yours.
Hi there. Sorry, I missed the first few minutes. It was another call, but I just wanted to ask then. First, hello. I wanted to ask if or what are the synergies that you can get across channels, because I think it was one of the features that you could get through Sky or previous Kensho, but from search, from the social platforms, or from e-commerce, considering Amazon. What are the synergies that you see, and what examples could you provide from your clients?
Yeah, great question, Leo. I'm sort of mindful of the time and not taking up too much of Charlie's time, but we're starting to see that that ability to merge them all together. So to be able to bring in your conversions into a central place, and then start seeing your, you know, whether it be your ROAS, your ACOS, your, you know, your standard ROI, or, you know, margin data, or share of voice data, or share of market data, and how you can then start using you know, likes of Sky's forecasting to make budgetary decisions, make forecasting decisions across those various different channels. But I've got a little bit more information, Leo. I'll send that to you in the chat as we go through.
Brilliant. Okay, thanks, guys. We're going to move on to our final presenter then, if that's okay with everyone. So here he is, Charlie. Just to recap, just to reintroduce you to Charlie from SayItNow. So SayItNow are a pioneering voice commerce proposition that can create actionable audio ads from Google and Amazon. I'm going to hand you over to Charlie.
Thank you very much. Can you confirm that you can see the screen?
Yes, we can, Charlie. It's all good.
Magic. Cool. So Charlie Cadbury, CEO and one of the co-founders of SayItNow. Now, we are an ads tech business. We work exclusively in the world of voice. So when I talk about voice, I mean your friends, Google Assistant, Alexa, Siri. And what we do is we harness these incredibly powerful voice assistants in order to take your customer by the hand and gently, in this one interaction, guide them through this journey, hopefully sometimes toward purchase. And we've been doing okay. So in 2019, we won the Alexa Cup, which was a global competition that Amazon put out in order to see how we could push forward the capabilities of the Alexa platform. We had a global media first about 18 months ago, which was the first ever radio campaign that you could purchase a product from. We bought a platform, a voice tech platform last November. It's kind of like the WordPress of voice, and that's really industrialized our capability to get these kind of campaigns out quicker and faster. It was announced in November last year, and then December last year we were announced as Group M's voice partner. So I want to talk to you about why we believe now is audio advertising's big moment of digital transformation. And to do that, we need to just recap what is digital transformation. What do you need? About 20 years ago, we started to read content through screens. We were then able to understand what content was making people click on specific adverts. We were able to optimize that channel because we had a feedback loop. Until now, in the world of audio and radio, we've had this one-way speaker blasting out, no opportunity for this feedback loop. But with the advent of smart speakers, we're eventually enabled to kind of talk back and get a load of actionable data, insight, and understanding about what's going on. And we know that we get a new way to converse with our technology about every 15 years or so. We used to have to understand what commands to type into a green screen in order to use technology. Then we invented the graphical interface, but a mouse and a clicker. You could click around windows, and that democratized the use of computing. We then connected all these computers together, and we democratized information. The next step was then putting these supercomputers into our pockets so that we could then kind of tap and swipe and interact with our technology wherever we wanted. And the next logical step is just using your voice. This whole idea of ambient computing to be able to talk to your technology easily wherever you are. And it's been going quite well. So Siri was launched 11 years ago in 2011. And by 2018, there's more than 500 million voice-enabled devices on planet Earth. The next phase of all this is, these voice assistants are being built into the next car you buy, the next TV you buy, the next fridge you buy will be voice controlled. This is a growing expectation that you can talk to your technology, and it's anticipated there'll be more voice-enabled devices than humans on planet Earth by 2024. So what we did is we looked at the landscape. We now know that about half of UK homes have a smart speaker and about 35% of US homes. And the key behaviors, people listen to streaming audio and they ask questions. And so we created a format specifically around this. We created actionable audio ads, which is audio advertising that engages with you speaking back to it. And we use exactly the same rails that are currently used to distribute audio advertising. So like the Spotify, iHeart, Global, any audio advert that you hear today on Heart FM or Classic could be made into an actionable campaign tomorrow. So we run exactly the same creative using the same rails, but the creative at the end says, if you'd like to know more about this campaign, then just say this back to your smart speaker. You then start a back and forward, delightful conversation with your smart speaker. We measure all of those data points. We know when the needs are served. We know when people start to talk back and forward, and then what they do. So we can deliver this live data dashboard. And the kind of use cases that we're currently building out for is, for these impulse decisions. You're listening to the radio during a family event, and it says, if you'd like 50% off your pizza, just say open Pizza Hut deals. Alexa, open Pizza Hut deals, and a coupon gets sent to your phone. A considered decision. You've been thinking about booking that test drive for a while. Somebody listening to Classic FM on a Sunday afternoon said, if you'd like to book your test drive here, then just say open drive Honda and you book your test drive. Or a generous decision. We work with a number of charities, and you can be inspired to just say open crisis and use your Alexa credentials to donate to that charity. So I'm going to give you 3 examples this afternoon of this in action. The first is with a brand called Barocca.
Right now, the weather is cold and wintry. You can expect yet more morning soup calls. Oh, sorry, I always feel tired on days like this. If you feel this way, try Barocca Boost. With caffeine to improve alertness and vitamin B12 to help reduce tiredness and fatigue. Switch on your Monday morning. Say launch Barocca Boost on this device now.
Alexa, launch Barocca Boost.
Welcome to Barocca Boost. Would you like to order some Barocca Boost tablets or hear more information about the product?
Order.
Would you like to order a package of 20 Barocca Boost using your default payment method and address?
Yes.
Here are the product details from Amazon. Would you like to buy it?
Yes.
Thank you for ordering Barocca Boost.
Now, what song am I going to play you?
So you see this charismatic that within minutes he'd heard a 30-second radio spot, had been inspired to respond back to that, and had purchased a pack of Barocca. We could see that people were spending about 30 seconds within this voice skill. But most importantly, when compared to driving people on display to an e-commerce site, we see a far higher conversion. This is because people get involved in this whole conversational cadence. You're kind of involved in the moment, back and forward. All your credentials are stored there, so it's very easy to make that purchase. This is something that we worked out with Diageo in order to get people from an in-home delightful experience, in this instance tasting whiskey, into a physical store.
Alexa, open Talisker tasting.
We're always looking at ways at how we can use our deeply engaging Alexa experience in new and interesting ways.
Firstly, pour a dram of whiskey into a glass. Let's take a moment to look at the colour. Now, on to tasting.
In a time where we want to encourage consumers to go back into the on-trade and into bars and pubs, The centre phone functionality comes at a perfect time because it's going to enable us to be able to marry both the in-home experience and the on-trade experience.
If you enjoyed that, we'd love to offer you 40% off a Talisker 10-year-old in a bar. Would you like us to send a coupon to your phone?
Yes.
So here you can see that with these voice experiences, you drop a particular coupon, a URL directly onto the mobile device for the people to then pick up a little bit later on. So this is a great example. This campaign went live today, and I think that the Specsavers creative team has done a wonderful job with this ad. Just so you can really bring this to life.
Alexa, open Specsavers Hearing. Alexa, open Specsavers Hearing. Alexa, open Specsavers Hearing.
What are you doing?
Well, I've been turning the telly up a lot and I can't hear phone calls properly, so I'm booking a hearing test at Specsavers. Alexa, open Specsavers Hearing.
That's good. Oh, and maybe get your eyes tested while you're there. You're talking to the bread bin.
At Specsavers, qualified audiologists can tailor our advanced hearing aid range to suit your personal needs. To book a hearing test, just say, Alexa, open Specsavers Hearing.
So really hammering the point that you need to say, Alexa, open Specsavers Hearing. And if you do, then you are encouraged to see whether you'd like to book a hearing test. If so, a link gets dropped directly onto your phone for you to book that test. So at last, we've got this audio to web parity. If we have a display campaign, we know we've got a display ad, and then when someone clicks on that, you measure that engagement, it takes you to a landing page and you get this wonderful data. We haven't really been able to get this same kind of parity of data in audio before, but now we can. So the equivalent of display ad is these audio ads. The engagement piece that we can measure is when a human then responds back. We have a dialogue, and this is what we can create very easily, this equivalent of the landing page, and then we wrap it all with our tracking suite to report on what's going on. And the kind of data that we get back, we get really nice view of cross-publisher aggregated data, gives us real-time information. So during the flight of the campaign, we can use that data to optimize how the media is being served to make sure that the campaign performs as effectively as possible. And then you're kind of leveraging the fact that you're dealing with people who are in a logged in environment. They've got access to a lot of their credentials and their payment details as well. And so we've got a huge amount of opportunity across the ecosystem. From a publisher perspective, we work very closely with publishers to help them understand the value of their the value of their content, so we can change the way that that's being priced, because we understand when people engage and what content is being engaged with. From an agency perspective, this is a kind of a net new revenue line. If they like to offer the creation of these voice experiences, we can support that, but also you can deliver far more insight as to exactly how people are dealing with these audio campaigns. And they work brand direct, so in a world of rising voice assistant usage, you can either lean on Alexa's voice, or you can build your own soundscape. So working directly with a load of brands and all of them to own that environment. And the worry here is that consumer adoption and behavior is outstripping what brands are doing. People are talking in their car back to their voice assistants. They're sitting at home, and we know that half of smart speaker owners have the smart speaker in the corner of the living room. And so within the next quarter or so, we're launching actionable TV ads. So it's the same landing point within the voice assistant, and we use a different form of media, whether that be audio or TV, to drive people into that experience. So, in summary, we know that voice is a very powerful new customer frontier. It opens up attribution, engagement, and commerce. The technology is all here. It's in place to start. That's exactly what we do here at SayItNow. So, if you are keen to engage your customers, cut through in home, and enable a frictionless commerce channel, then talk to us about actionable audio ads, actionable TV ads, or branded voice strategy. I love your questions.
Brilliant. Thanks, Charlie. We've got a couple of questions here. I know Leo's got his hand up as well, so I'll just quickly ask these ones. So I recall a stat being thrown around that 50% of all searches would be voice enabled by 2020. Where do we think we are with that today? Has that happened, or is that yet to happen?
Yeah, so no, that's a stat from, I think, 2017. It's one of the most widely quoted stats. I think we're a bit far off the mark, but there's more. There are more than 1 billion voice searches on. I don't know the exactly where we are with this, but it's rising as behavior is leaning into these channels.
Brilliant. Okay, cool. And we've got one more here, then there's a couple of hands that have gone up. Is there a way to test audio creatives? So similar to a sort of A/B testing model and maybe long-term dynamic content in the future?
In the future or now? So yes, so we're running a campaign in the US next month, which has one of these as the criteria. So because we can change the creatives and we know exactly the efficacy of that particular creative and what engagement that's getting, then we report back on that. So it's all in.
Brilliant. So it's built in. Brilliant. Fantastic. Okay, Ryan, you've got your hand up. I think Leo did as well, but Ryan, let's move over to you, mate.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Charlie.
I think you might have. Okay, Ryan might have frozen on us.
I can hear.
Let me just see.
I can hear Ryan loud and clear.
No, is that not working? Right, fine.
Right.
I can hear Ryan.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Maybe.
Ryan, are you there?
I can see Ryan. I can hear him. Ryan, shoot.
Okay, fine. Well, perhaps we'll get that question.
Charlie, I'll just try and get it in quickly. Just in terms of the agency ecosystem, I mean, we were asked a couple of years ago to run a voice search pitch, and I remember it being, incredibly difficult to find agencies, creative media who actually had the capability, and it's partly because it's quite blurry in terms of whether it's a media solution or a creative solution. From your experience, who's really, I guess, paving the way here? Who's leading the way in terms of the agency ecosystem? Are you seeing, the network agencies?
That's a challenge that we set out to solve for, really. So what we do is we package this up as a media product. We sell on a CPM basis. This goes as an ads tech fee on a audio plan, right? So you can either run a standard audio campaign that you report on afterwards, or you make it an actionable audio campaign, which gives you access to all of the insight. We build the landing point, which allows us to kind of give people that extra kind of place to go to from the audio creative, and then we put our tracking pixel in the media. So we package it up so it's really easy to see as a media solution, but there's loads of creative opportunity there. So there's another world where if you're looking to deliver kind of net new creative revenues into your business, then you can work with us and license our platform in order to build those experiences for all your clients.
Yeah. Okay, thank you ever so much. Well, look, I'll wrap up this session. We're bang on 3. So look, big thank you to all of our presenters, to Charlie, to Tom and to Dan. So thanks for the presentations. A big thank you to Ryan and the team at MediaSense for organising our first innovation session with them as part of the new partnership. And then a big thank you to all of the clients and friends of MediaSense that have attended and enjoyed the session. Ryan and the team at MediaSense will be in touch shortly with an email, with a follow-up email with all of the contact details of everyone that's presented. They'll circulate the presentation decks as well. If you've got any more questions, feel free to get in touch, and then hopefully we'll speak to you all very soon. But in the meantime, enjoy weekends, have a great time, and we'll see you in the near future. Thanks, guys. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.